What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Get Wrecked, bro. I'm one of your hosts today. My name is Sensei. I'm with the man, the myth, the legend himself, DAK. DAK, how you feeling today?
I'm doing pretty good. Got myself a new controller today. I've been playing COD, grinding it out.
Hey, you gotta love it. New controller vibes. It makes you feel godlike, especially the first couple of games. You start to think, oh man, maybe I should have made the switch a lot sooner. Let's get into the interview today. It's gonna be exciting. I know that this is going to be one of those interviews that a lot of people, want to see and want to watch because you're a different kind of guest. You have two sides to you and what you do for the CRL. You are both a mod and a player in the Diamond division, excuse me. And this is going to be super exciting. So without further ado, let's get into question number one. Question on everybody's mind. And this is going to be something that people might say, oh, he's lying. Oh, he's not lying. This is going to probably be the biggest question on the video. So get it out right there in the beginning. Do mods get paid?
No. The short answer is no. In the past, I heard that Chair would sometimes do something special for the mods, not in terms of money, but every once in a while they do something special. But no is just like a straight up answer.
Yeah. And so I know that the thing about being a mod, it has to come in, like, as of right now, the CRL as a whole is getting just bigger and bigger and bigger, and people are always asking, where does the money go? Where does the money go? Where does the money go? And I know you're not one of the owners, but maybe from a mod standpoint, where does some of that money go? I'm sorry, we're getting into the spicy ones early. I just want to know, on your mind, maybe you have some insight that us as the regular CRL viewers and players, possibly don't know.
I know that a chunk of the money is used to maintain the website, like fix bugs, keep it operational, make sure we don't lose the licensing. But that's the big thing I know about it. I know in the past they've mentioned that they're trying to save for the LAN, with that everyone wants to see happen. So that could be where another portion of money goes to. But as far as I know, the website is where a strong portion of it goes.
Yeah, and the website just seems to be like the thing that everyone uses. So, why not put it to that? I think that that's 100% a great reason to use the money. In terms of being a mod, right? Walk me through like a day by day in the mod shoes, being a mod in the CRL, because it can't be an easy one.
For me, I have one of the easier portions. The main thing that I try to do is I try to just make sure that everyone's kind of following the rules, and when they're speaking in chats, kind of make sure that no one's going off the rails, no one's saying some iffy things, making sure everyone's being respectful of one another. But a lot of the big mod things tend to happen in like a vote style. So, like, if someone gets banned, we'll all talk about it. But a lot of the individual things, everyone kind of does their own thing, because not every single mod is needed for every decision. So it's not like every day every mod is sitting down and we're talking about like what we want to do for that week. A lot of that just kind of happens based on like a majority rules type situation.
Okay, so it's a team effort. Each and every one of you have a little job, and it keeps the wheels turning, so to speak. And that's something that I think that, coming from the CRL right now, as it only gets bigger, I think that your jobs will only become more and more bigger. But moving on to the next question, in terms of like banning, do you have like a end all be all like ban card? You get like one ban for free being a mod?
No, that'd be funny though. A lot of the ban situations happen based on what happens if they break the rules. Obviously, we'll talk about it. It's not like if you break one rule, you get banned and then you don't get a say. If It's mostly based on like what rule you break, how many times you've broken it, and how if you've been talked to in the past. Like one of the big rules is being respectful in game, such as no shooting bodies, no teabagging, things like that. You'll get a few warnings before we just straight up ban you, because it's all about giving you that opportunity to like understand what the league is about. That happens a lot with new players. A lot tendency from season to season is new players won't understand that we want everyone to treat everyone with the same amount of respect. So we'll give I would say every season there's about 5 or 6 times we'll warn various people about it. But I don't think we've ever gotten so far as to ban somebody for doing it.
Right, right. So my ex teammates will kill me if I didn't ask this question, honestly. And again, feel free to have no comment on it. So a very dominant player in the Silver Pre-Made North division last year was Morph, and Morph got banned because he made an ult account on a Halo, I believe the Halo Rec League account. And
yes,
just run me through like what was the process in this, because we've seen a lot of people create ult accounts before. One notable one for myself was Faith. He went for like Faith for one account and then Prismatic or something like that for another. Just run me through what happened with the decision for Morph, and will we ever potentially see Morph return?
So I hope that I play with him from time to time. Like, I think he's a really good player and a really good kid. And the biggest thing for me is that I think the big part was that we want to use this as like a teaching experience for everybody. The breakdown of what I know of it is it's not that he made another account for Halo. It's the fact that he tried to sign up on 2 different teams for Halo, both pre-made teams.
Wow, that's new information to me.
So one account was playing, I believe, in gold, and then he had his second account playing down in silver so he could play with his buddies.
That is brand new information to me. I thought he was just making one different account for the CRL and one for the HRL. But hey, you learn something new each and every day. But so as in terms of what you just said, right? He never really got to play, right? The argument for a lot of more fans is like, hey, he never really got to play, so we can understand the seasonal ban, but perma ban a little bit too strict. As I want to answer from you, if I could, I want to get the mod answer from DAK and then the player answer, or if they're both the same, that would be great.
As far as it goes on the mod side, like, I understand him getting banned because you want to set an example that this isn't allowed and that you don't want people to encourage it. If we hadn't caught it, chances are like any number of things could have happened, and then people would have gone to the mod saying, hey, this person is this person and also has this account. And you can't really, if you want to set an example, you got to do it when you find out. Like, if a police officer knows about a crime, he doesn't wait for the crime to happen and then stops the person.
Yeah.
From my player's perspective, playing with him, I do not. I hope sincerely that there's like a reprieve, so that way he gets his say and gets his chance to come back.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be restrictions about it, like let him play in COD, but he can't play in Halo for X amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of want to see him come back, because talking with him, I know he's learned from it, and I know he knows how to go about it now. He knows that the biggest thing from our conversations is he thought that if he talked to the mods about trying to play with his friends, he would have gotten told no. Right. So he just made the account and signed up without thinking about it, when the steps should have been talking with the mods and getting it figured out to see if it would like tip the balance and if his team would be too good for whatever division he ended up being in.
Yeah, and I had a few words with him, before his banning, and it was honestly like, from our aspect is we're just trying to win a championship. Eventually went on to do so, but he's young. You can sense that immediately when you talk to Morph, and I think that he did listen to his, learned and not listened, learned from his mistakes. But one day, hopefully, he can be back in the CRL, and that's great that you kind of feel the same way. So knowing that there are some upper people in the CRL, somewhat on his side, that's great to hear. But back to yourself, right? In terms of mod, and there was a big outrage when you became a mod, because a lot of people felt like it was due to the fact of you gifting subs and like the subathon they had. Like for me personally, I was kind of on that line, but then I'm like, nah, there's no way they let people buy mods in this like league. The league is growing, and they just needed new mods. For yourself, how did that come to be? DAK being a mod, and was it because of the subs?
No. The subathon happened quite a while afterwards. There was a moment early on during Cold War where they kind of opened up. I guess the best way to put it is like an application to become a mod. And it just so happened that they made the decision of who was going to be a mod around the same time that the subathon ended. So no, the subs happened after the fact of me applying to be a mod, and I knew I was going to be a mod before I gifted the subs.
Yeah, and I could agree with that, because to me, I said this to like a couple of people that asked me, hey, do you think that that's why he got it? I'm like, well, Palm Show gave the same amount and he's not a mod, so you can't really make that happen. I don't know if he applied to be a mod, but for the most part, if people think that, if you're watching this and you think that DAK is only there because of the subs, just take Palm Show as a person that like he's gifted probably the same amount in terms of like what you need to create a team in the CRL. So he's not mod, and that means DAK is definitely a mod for a reason. But yeah, moving off of the mod side of you, and thank you for that insight. A lot of people are going to watch this and learn something new about the CRL. But in terms of DAK, the player, very dominant player in terms of from where you started to now. I think that, yes, your team is having some issues at the current state of the Diamond Division. I believe you guys are 0-2 currently. Talk to me about what's going on. Maybe give a little insight to the behind the scenes of your team thus far.
I think the biggest thing right now is that we're trying to find like a proper four. The roster that ended up playing this past week against Green Bay kind of got thrown together last minute. A few of the players had an idea that they might play, but the four that ended up playing didn't really have much practice with each other. Individuals had practice with other individuals. Like I know Sox and Ray play a lot together, and I know Ray and Robbie play a lot together. But as far as Mott goes, the four of them hadn't had a lot of practice. So it could have been communication issues. It could have been like a few different things. My point of view, as far as it goes, is I think that we're just kind of going through growing pains. We're, for the most part, like a newer team, whereas a lot of the teams that are in Diamond right now are they've been together for a while. Green Bay's been together for, I think this is their 6th season together. ECAJ's team has been together for 4. And then down the line, just all the way down, all those teams, and then ours are for the most part brand new.
Yeah, and that's something I noticed right off the gate when teams were announced, because for a second there, I don't know if I am misreading, but it seemed like you were during roster mania and all that stuff before the entire season started. It seemed like you were trying to stay in plat, and just play. So were you? At what point did you know, hey, they want me to be in the Diamond Division and I had to put a team together? Was that like, right before? Did you have some time to actually prep and put a team together? Just run me through that.
So Diamond teams were actually picked off of a list of teams that signed up for Plat. No team was allowed to sign up for Diamond. but every team that's in Diamond signed up for Plat, and then they picked off of that list.
Okay.
So we signed up. Our original 4 was supposed to be in Plat was me, Mott, Boots, and Socks. When we got the pull up to Diamond, I had a conversation with Socks about bringing on his 2 teammates, Robbie and Ray, after playing with them from time to time.
Right.
And then Trilogy and Ziplix got added. I think they're also like a part of that small friend group, but they're on the roster for an emergency purpose.
Okay. So, okay. Now you guys are 0-2. Big week coming up. Most likely a must-win week for you guys. Have you guys prepped at all in terms of like who you guys are gonna send out there? You know, have you guys been scrimming certain maps? Just run me like by what's the change that's gonna happen moving into week 3?
I think the plan is to go with the 4 that played against Green Bay again. They've been practicing a lot together. And Robbie, Ray, and Socks, at least. Mott's been kind of busy. He's had some things going on in his life. I don't know what. Not bad things, but just kind of been busy. As far as it goes, this week, I have faith in them that they're able to play. There's a chance that we could see a substitution for one of the players, but I think we'll find out closer to game day. If not, we'll have a new player in there.
Right. And you don't want to give all the secrets because this will be releasing on Tuesday. So the day tomorrow, this will be releasing. So don't want to give everything. But in terms of you as a player, you've been very dominant since your entry into the CRL. A lot of things have been said about you in terms of like, your early accolades were like, basically sandbagged, and that's the way that's the person you are. You're a sandbagger. You know, there's a lot of DAK isn't as good as people think he is. What do you have to say about that?
I think the biggest thing is like I have like a weird thing. I struggle against players, not to be rude, but against players that don't know the game as well. Because when you play at a certain level, you get to a point where you expect people to do certain things, and when somebody doesn't know that that's supposed to happen, and they do something weird, you kind of just don't know what to react with. So I'll struggle against players that, like, for example, if it was Gavitu, you would expect people to play a little more passive around hill and wait for the push. If someone were just randomly to just run at me, I wouldn't know like how to respond to that.
Right.
Because I'm more worried about a setup rather than somebody breaking their setup to try and kill somebody.
Right, and which is understandable at the level you guys are playing and in that diamond division. I think that you have to start like playing it kind of like how the pros, as to where like gold and plat and silver, you can get away with those things, you know. So when you see some unorthodox things happening in those upper divisions, you start, not necessarily panicking, but you're not always prepared for things like that because you expect for players to be a little bit more strategic, a little bit more coordinated, and which is understandable. Now getting into your early experience in the CRL, as a player more than a mod, how has the experience of you entering the CRL have been from the time you started to now?
It's been amazing. I've been around long enough that I know like a lot of the tenured players, but I also know a lot of the new players. I think the biggest thing is that being in a community like this, you kind of get to know the people. People aren't going to just join because they want to play COD. Chances are that they're going to want to play COD and meet people and like get more people to play with, which has been a really big thing since I joined. Every once in a while, you'll get a player that maybe takes it a little too seriously and just kind of doesn't really get it. But for the most part, everyone's in here just to have a good time.
So speaking about one of those people that don't really get it, I don't know if this is a friendly banter going on in the Discord, but you and I believe the man's name is Momentum. Correct me if I'm
Maury.
wrong. Maury, there you go. You guys had a little back and forth there over the past couple of days, in terms of, he kind of hit you hard with a shot there, saying your team isn't winning. Um, Tell me what's going on with that. Is that a rivalry blooming? Or is that something that's been there?
Not really. I know Maury loves to banter. I'm not the first person he's done with. I doubt I'll be the last. But like
Right.
the biggest thing is like if if you're gonna go at him, then you better be ready to take it back. What is it? I think the most recent time I did the who asked joke to him,
Yeah.
and his response was him pointing out my team, which was funny to me. Like I don't care if people trash talk me. I mean, I know he probably didn't mean it either. I think it's fun. I think there's a line that you have to worry about crossing. Like you
Yeah.
don't take it too far. But what me and him were doing, I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it was funny, and that's why I had to absolutely bring it up. But let's rewind a little bit. Right now, you are in the Diamond Division, one of the best better, excuse me, players in the CRL in general. But that wasn't always the case in terms of being that high up. You used to be in the trenches down in the Bronze Division, with a pretty famous team. A team that went on to win, in the same, I believe, night, double championships. And I know you were searching for that championship Discord title. Did you ever get that first? And secondly, just talk to me about that season, that run that you guys had.
Um. Okay. The title I have right now from that Cold War season, I technically was on the team, but I wasn't on the team when they won it.
Right.
Cause that season when I was in bronze, I made a big decision to upgrade all my equipment. I went from a PS4 to a PC. I went from a television to a monitor. I made all these upgrades, and my gameplay made like a pretty big improvement. So much so that the mod team at that time decided he maybe we shouldn't have this player in bronze, so maybe we shouldn't move him out. From that point, my team kinda all called it quits, except for Palm Show and his name is Brokeback Barry now, but back then it was Barry Biracial.
Yeah, Barry.
Those two those two stuck on the team to kind of rebuild it, and they rebuilt it by Palm Show bringing on all of his mixed teammates at the time, which is why that people thought it was weird that ended up happening. That's why that's the way it was. But they ended up going all the way and winning both of them. I made a joke to Shio about, hey, since I was on the team for X amount of weeks, I should get the title too. He joked back, said he would think about it, and I just took it as, since you run on the team, you're not going to get it. And then a few weeks after that, he ended up surprising me and just giving me the title anyway.
And honestly, I was across from that team in the finals, and I would say that the biggest upset in terms of how the games went, they were phenomenal games, both the pre-made and the mix that season. But I just had a very like hard time, swallowing the pill that they were allowed to pick up their entire mixed team and make it the mixed team and the pre-made team. And I get it, at that time it was kind of still early in Cold War in terms of like everything was fleshed out as it is this season. But yeah, I always thought that was pretty unfair, but hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles, and things only were up from there, because eventually I finally got that ring. But in terms of that team, do you guys ever think about like, at some point, Palm, Barry, and Shoku, they're gonna only get better with time. Do you ever think you guys get together, maybe like a plat division or diamond even?
I hope so. I think I've always wanted a team with Shoku. because I've played with him a lot, and he not to not to kind of be what is the word egotistical.
Right.
He knows I'm better than him, but he also knows that he's capable of becoming better than me. So yeah, one of my biggest things is I'd love to team with him eventually. Him and Barry, I've been wanting to team with. Yep.
I see. The force is strong with him. Okay. So getting into some of the spicy questions. This is perfect. We talked about a lot of things thus far. We still have some time here in this interview. So let's get into a couple of the spicy questions. And question number one is, we know someone you want to team with in Shoku, but give me someone in the CRL you would never team with.
I think someone I feel like that's a hard question to ask because there's always new players, and like you never want to team with a new player because you don't know if they sign up for plat, if they're as good as they say they are, or if they're just hyping themselves up to get to that level. I think I would never want to team with gyms. Purely because I have a 2-0 record in pre-made against gyms, and I would love to stack that higher.
Jeez. Okay, heard it here first. Friendly fire, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy. Okay, so we know someone that you don't want to play with, but give me someone that they ask you, hey DAK, let's get a child going for $1,000. Who's free money in the CRL to you?
I'm gonna go with Shoku again on this. Well, for the same reason that I gave before, is that I've known him a really long time, so I know his tendencies when he tries to play differently. So it's easier for me to understand how he plays than if I were to pick, let's say, Palm Show. Palm Show plays every game he plays differently. He never does the same thing twice, so that way people don't expect him to do something. Whereas Shoku, I mean, no offense, but you can read him like a bug.
Oh, I didn't say it. That was all you. Shoku, you can read him like a book. Going off of that, I hope that the same person isn't the answer to the next question, but give me the bot out of the CRL. Who's someone that you've watched them, in prime time on the CRL main stage, or someone you played against, and dude was just shooting circles?
I'm gonna go with Disarray on this one, mainly because his entire philosophy with playing COD in the most recent years is just to have fun. So he's not out there like running around the map trying super hard. Like he'll do things for the sake of just doing things, but he's doing it because he's having fun with the people he's playing with, and I think that's great. But he is a bot.
Jeez. Man, there's no stopping you, huh? I like it. We like the honesty. We love the honesty here on the show. So just keeping up with things of that nature, things that kind of rub you the wrong way. If I gave you the ban hammer, for a day, who's the first one you're chopping off? It's got to be someone that you've been saying, "Oh, do something wrong, so I could just ban them." Like, there's got to be someone.
If this was a couple months ago, I had an answer to that. It would have been Mario at the time, but then he ended up getting the axe anyway.
Oh, that's. I
don't know if I have. I think for fun, I would ban Fooly Cooley. That guy always loves. He loves starting shit with people, but he's always able to finish it. And I've always wanted to like flex on him that I'm a mod. So I think it would be him, just because if he ever started something with me, then I always have the finishing word.
All right, listen, Fooly, he's a good guy. Give him a chance, Dak. Give him a chance. Next question is something I kind of stirred away from asking the people that come on the show, but I think for you it fits. If you were owner for a day, what is one big change you will make to the CRO?
I think the biggest one is I would love to try and figure out sandbagging. Don't get me wrong, I know it's a big thing. and it's almost impossible to stop because someone could just make a new account, and unless we find out that that person's on a new account, we can't stop it. But one of the ideas that I've heard floated around in the past that is a good idea. I don't know how realistic it is, but it is a good idea. Is whenever a new player signs up, we give them a 2-season grace period where they get to play wherever they want. But after those 2 seasons, we decide where they go.
Okay. I see. I like that. That couldn't work. I think maybe 2 seasons is too long, but hey, it's you. You're the one that's the owner for the day, you know. So I could get down with that. I think that would help tremendously. I think that, you know, that's something that we could talk for like another hour about sandbagging in the CRL. It's something that's been very like visible. You know, at some points it seems like people aren't even trying to hide it anymore. But my follow-up question would be just you as the player. Do you ever, like, being in the CRL as long as you've been, what were you ever telling yourself like, man, I wish there was a prize at the end of the season? And in terms of like, it could be a cash prize or, you know, jerseys or whatever, something. Have you ever felt like that when it came to the CRO?
Yes. More recently, not as much. But in the beginning, when I first signed up, I loved the idea of the winning team getting something. But the more you play, the more you're around here. The biggest thing that the mods talk about is sandbagging is bad now, but if we ever had a cash prize, we wouldn't be able to run the league.
I agree.
I would like to see maybe in the future the winning team, the winning pre-made team, not mixed team, each player gets a jersey of the team they won with.
I like that. I'm a huge fan of the CRO, and I've always been, you know, kind of vocal about, you know, the players in general. And as a player, I think that you have been one of the more dominant players in a long time. You know, yeah, you got your Leafs, you got your Boozies, you got your Jakes, you know, I go on and on. But I think when it comes to you, you're different in terms of what you bring to the CRO. If a new generation is going to come to the CRL, they might stop on this episode because, again, probably one of the better episodes I'm going to have for quite some time. You being a mod and a player, what is some, like, you know, inspiration you can give to those young players?
I would say, like, just keep trying. There's always growth that can be made. The biggest thing in terms of growth is never be afraid to try and reach out to see if somebody better than you is willing to help you out a little bit. Even if they say no, it's not like that one person is the one person that you have to look to. Like, you mentioned it earlier, Shoku being my Padawan, that team in bronze I stuck close with because they were still my buddies. And he reached out one day and just asked me if I could show him a few things. And then that escalated into me teaching him, like, simple things such as spawns and when to flip and how to flip, to me introducing him to Wally at the time, and Wally doing the rest, pretty much doing the rest of the dirty work, teaching him the small things. And he's still learning. Like, he knows he still has a lot to learn, but he took that one step needed to reach out, and now he could potentially, in a season or two, he could be in Diamond.
Wow, that's huge. Coming from you, that's a huge vouch. Honestly, I think, again, I can talk all day on, you know, how good of a player you are, how good of a person you are. I think that, you know, we've had our fair share of, you know, scraps with words here and there, and I've always respected you. I want you to know that, and I appreciate you coming on the show and giving us so much insight. You're a special dude, and I want you to just keep that going. I think you guys can bounce back 100%. I'm rooting for you guys to bounce back this week and every week to come. Just and before we end, because we are short on time here, last question would be, who would you like to see an interview of next?
Let's see. I know you've done Floofy and Killa and Cover. Honestly, I would say Adcott, because that guy's had like an interesting road himself. I've played against him in silver and gold. I missed out on playing him in bronze, and now he's in plat. So he's kind of had the same road I've traveled. So I'd love to see that.
Hey, I would love to see it too. Adcock, come on the show, hit me up, brother. But DAK, there's gonna be a ton of people watching this. You know, the Floofy vid is almost at 100 views. This one's probably gonna excel way over 100. So where can the people find you over on the internet?
I pretty much only have my Discord, which isn't hard to find, and then I use Twitter a lot. My Twitter is __DAK__. And I thought about doing YouTube and streaming when I get a better PC, but for now it's just Twitter.
Okay, that'll be down in the description box. And is there any shout outs you want to give?
I'm gonna give a shout out to Shoku because I know he's gonna listen to this. Get better, kid.
Get better, kid. Heard it here first. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all about done for today. DAK, again, thank you for being a wonderful guest and coming on the show. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to say have a good day, have a good night, get going, because I know you got this. And ladies and gentlemen, goodbye.